when I saw Phantom Thread, I thought Paul Thomas Anderson is the best guy working right now. He's at his best right now, and he's the best one making films right now. Martin Scorsese is a legendary, untouchable filmmaker. His films today aren't at the caliber, I don't think, in terms of richness and the effort made, and the rawness and the honesty. Just such good fucking filmmaking. Sorry, I'm taking too long to say what I think about it, but yes,
no, that's great.
I had the same experience, Joe, of fetishizing the inside of his home in the country and the little car and how disturbed he gets. It was funny as fuck to me how disturbed he gets. And I remember one day I was shooting my show on Fifth Avenue, and we had a little white tent with some with our electronics and some shit under it, but we took up a little bit of the sidewalk, and fucking Daniel Day-Lewis walked by, and he hit his head on our tent, and I was in awe of watching him walk by, and he hit his head on the tent a little bit, and I said, "I'm sorry, did you hit your head on that?" And he, without looking back, he said, "Yes, I did." Really? And I was like, my God, there's a little bit of him, and I don't know him at all. There's a little bit of him in these characters. When he's pissed off, he's the funniest thing in movies. He's like Joe Pesci level of acid. It makes me laugh so much throughout Phantom Thread. I'm just delighted.
It's very funny, yeah. His
how
frustration
annoyed
is
he
hilarious.
is by anybody who isn't his sister or a client or a dress. Everybody else needs to go fuck themselves. And yes, that this woman, by killing him a little bit every day, is able to hang on to him. That's also every human relationship. Every loving together two people relationship has a little bit of Munchausen, and a little bit of this crazy manipulation of one person who's such a white hot heat that the other person needs to cool them down and then let them grow and then cool them down. It's beautifully done. I feel like that's that attention to detail and that willingness to really give in to the world that the movie lives in. What is this making clothes thing, and what is it at this level? And what kind of a guy is this guy? What makes him great at this? And we're going to sit there and really fetishize that.
Right.
You start to get off on the clothes and the way that everything that gets him off, and you watch and the way he looks at her and his command of his client and his respect of his client and his home and his sister, who's a lot like There Will Be Blood, the guy that hangs out with him, his partner. If you never replaced what your mother did for you, I mean, then you'll always pine for her. I mean, you never replace when your mother dies. You guys both still have your moms, I think. My mom died a couple of years ago, and the thing that you face is that when your mother dies, because it usually, I mean, look, when people lose their moms early in life, it's a whole other experience I didn't have. But I lost my mom in my 50s, and like my mom said, that's appropriate. Like when I said to her, "I don't want you to die," she said, "That's the way. This is the way it works. We're going in order, and this is the age you're losing me at a pretty average age." But the thing that goes with your mom is the realization you'll never get this kind of support again, and you don't have it coming any longer. It's now your job to offer it to other people. That's a big thing. But when you lose your mom, if you don't fill your life, you only are able to handle that if you find other sources of love, or if so this guy was a slave to his art. So that's why losing his mom was such a devastating thing. But this is his one hopeful movie. If all these other movies are a search for connection,
this one achieves it.
If The Master is two insane people only finding each other, if There Will Be Blood is a man steadfastly refusing love and what happens to a man like that, this movie is all these movies are about crazy people. They're all about madness. And I mean, the Old Country for Old Men is a whole other subject. It's about being a man and all kinds of other shit, and aging. But this movie is like, this guy found a way. And it's true that if you're going to love somebody and have them be a real part of your life, you need to let them kill you a little. You need to let them you need to give something in return. And they need to take a person who's There Will Be Bloodish in life, just exploding with a ability and gain and success is alone. And this incredible artist in the Phantom Thread has this woman who needs to, but also she has this great shining thing in her, and he douses her a little bit because he takes her out of she was this blooming rose in the world, and he takes her into the shade with him, into this dark world. So she's giving up a lot too. It's an interesting partnership, and it is true. You're not gonna find somebody without giving up some of what you value. A new romance, a honeymoon period is something that makes you feel I'll never be lonely again. That's the feeling you have. This is candy. This is like a fairy tale, and it'll never be anything else. And then you find out, oh no, I'm terribly lonely. Even though this is the right person for me, I'm still lonely. How do we maintain this now that that's reality has come back? At first, art is a way to keep away the shitty feelings, to feel good about yourself, and to as a defense. The thing that when you watch an artist sustain is when they're able to take their dedication to their art past the point of romance. When you lose the honeymoon with your art, and it becomes a fucking business partner instead of like a real marriage. Then you're doing it because you believe in it, and you're doing it when you in a way that isn't just like, ooh, how this makes me feel. You'll go the rest of your life having these conversations where you go like, yeah, it doesn't work. Marriage doesn't work. And anybody who's doing it is faking it, or, whatever. The thing that I love about this movie, again, and with his whole trajectory in his career, is that you couldn't have two more different movies than Hard Eight and Phantom.
Yeah.
You couldn't have two more different movies. Two different textures. There's just so much that they don't have in common. Bunch of losers in Vegas trying to get a little something out of life, and then the Phantom Thread. But if you watch him go, it's kind of like you can't ask for any more different language than English and Russian. But if you walk from England through, across the continent, you'll gradually get there. From French to Belgian to German to Finnish to whatever. It's so clear the walking from Hard Eight to Phantom Thread. It makes perfect sense. They're all connected. They're all the same guy, and when he gives himself completely though to the next thing, he really takes the next step. He doesn't reuse old tricks, which like Spielberg is, I think, a master filmmaker. Not every film he's made has been great, and he likes to work more than some people do. So he just makes more movies, but he has tricks, and I enjoy them. He has a bunch of things he does in every single movie. He does all the same shit. This guy doesn't do that.